All right, Katie, I'm glad you're here today. How's your week been going?
We were off on Monday, so that was kind of nice, but at the same time, when you don't have school on Mondays, those shorter weeks seem a little bit longer. So it's
Because
Wednesday, but it kind
because
of
you're
feels like it.
behind? You feel
Huh?
behind, or how can they feel longer?
Um, yeah, just a little bit. It's kind of like you play catch up just to get caught up on everything, but it is kind of nice because it's like the middle of the week and we just started, so it's like, oh, the weekend's around the corner. So, but no, it's been going well.
So I can make it. I find we have a hard time knowing what day of the week it is when it's that way. Like, what is today?
Yes. Yeah, you get your schedule off. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you came in. Before we kind of get into talking about what you were wanting to talk about, I just want to share a couple things about confidentiality and just so you know the limits to that. First of all, what you share in here is your information, and I hold that. It's private. It's your information, so I don't share that. It doesn't leave this space. However, there are a couple things that are limits to confidentiality where I do have to break that, and I just want you to be aware of what they are. First off, if there's danger that you're going to harm yourself, reach out and get help, or that maybe a danger that you might harm others. That's another time I would have to break it to make sure. Again,
Hmm.
safety is a big deal. And then the other thing is if you are being harmed and that's found out and communicated, those are all times that I need to report and get help and do what needs to be done to keep you safe. And so those are a few limits that I just want you to be aware of before we get going. Do you have any questions about that or?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay, good. So tell me a little bit about what you were, put on your intake form, what you're wanting to talk about.
I've just been overwhelmed with a lot of things that are going on. It is already week 3 in the school year, but it's just a lot of stuff with getting school. I'm in a new school district. And so, new school district brings new protocols and procedures. So just trying to make sure I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to there. I also have a small business, so trying to run my small business. And then my husband just opened recently a restaurant. And so I'm kind of the go-to person when somebody gets sick or, they call in last minute. I'm kind of the person to fill in there. And then, with school, with grad school and everything, it's very overwhelming. And I know in the end, it's going to be it'll be well worth it. But in this current moment, just very overwhelmed with everything that's going on right now.
Sounds like you have a lot of balls you're juggling and different ones.
Hmm.
Feeling very overwhelmed with the new school and the ins and outs that you're learning, and then grad school on top of work school. Okay. And you said you have your a business that's separate from school,
Yes, yeah.
and your
I have my own
husband
small business.
started a new business, and you're a helper there as well.
Yes, very little, but still it's enough to owning a restaurant it's a lifestyle change for
Okay.
him and for me as well. So,
So a lot of different things you're adapting to different changes as well. Not only
correct.
overwhelmed, but changes in different areas.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I could see how that could feel overwhelming. And I mean, I heard you say it's going to be okay. A little bit of a breath as you said that. How are some things in the middle of this? Have you found some things that help you maintain or like, okay, this is something that could help me on the hard days or a resource maybe, like what do you do when you're feeling that overwhelmed or how does
Well, any breath of air that I can take, a lot of times I'll take a nap. On the weekends, I'd really try to get caught up on the weekends with getting caught up with my grad school homework and then resting as much as possible. And then, reading. Reading is kind of my decompression. So I just recently started a book, which I'm really enjoying. So any chance I can get, then I'll do that to kind of take a breather.
so is that reading for school or reading for something that like I just want to read this?
Reading for pleasure. Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. So you're finding a couple snippets to where, okay, I'm
Yes.
overwhelmed, but here's an outlet that's maybe not all of those hats and those. Which one of those things you said I feel a little bit overwhelmed that seems to be maybe the most, where I feel that stress more. You talked about dealing with stress as part of what you're wanting to talk about. Is there one of those that, I'm thinking if you have these different balls, is there one that seems it's harder?
Probably, probably just the new